What's up YouTube, Matt here. As you can see, we've got a zero deck profile today. I know I'm massively behind. We're halfway through set 3 and I am now just backtracking onto the set 2 decks. We have got a few more, then I'm going to be moving on to Fighters Collection, so I actually didn't pull set 3 because there was nothing there that actually interested me. But there are an army of Fighters Collection decks that will see us long into January because there's just so much fun I'm having with the stuff. But for today's decks, we are going to discuss Lauris. So this is Lauris. Starting off, we have got our starter. The first and key thing which we do need to discuss about Lauris is the first of the keyword stuff. Like we've got Timely, Magia. This is Bermuda's one, which is Melody. Melody has the skill of, when the unit is already in play, if you place another unit in the same column here, both units then become in harmony state. Whilst in harmony state, obviously certain skills do require you being in that state. Like Starter, for example, has got the skill of GB1. When this unit is in harmony, you can put this card into your soul, choose one of your rear guards, and bounce it back to your hand, and then draw a card. And second skill is this card can't be retired, so the usual anti-retire starter that every clan's getting at the moment. This is really good because obviously it lets you recycle your on-play skills, drawing extra cards. There are some on-bounce skills that obviously this will activate as well, so really good card for the deck personally. Next up is obviously we've got 4 Stride Fodders, on-play, discard a card, so you deck for a grade 3 with Lauris in its name, and when discarded for the cost of Stride it counts as grade 3. Then obviously running 3 copies of the Shizuku grade 1. Superb new student Shizuku. She's also got the Harmony skill. And GB1, once per turn, when this unit is placed into Harmony state, you can check top 5 cards of your deck, search for a grade 3 and add it to your hand. So this is extra consistency in finding your grade 3s, or riding in case you misride, or striding with, obviously it gets you a Stride Fodder cast. There is also a one-off grade 3 we do run that obviously this can help find to then re-legion with. Honestly, really good card. Then obviously 4 copies of the counter-charging PG, because Bermuda can't blast like no tomorrow, you need the counter-charging PG. Skill cost for the counter-charge is obviously having 1 copy of itself already in the drop zone, which is very easy to do. Next up, finishing up the grade 1s, we do run 2 copies of Duo Kura, who's on play, Soul Blast 2 to counter-charge 2. Second skill obviously does say when you put her in a deck with Nemoil, she does actually not have a skill. But this obviously doesn't affect us because we don't use Nemoil. Next up, we run grade 2s. 4 copies of, honestly, the best card Bermuda gets is Admired Sparkle Speaker. Speaker's got the skill of GB1. When this unit attacks Vanguard whilst being boosted, you can Counter Blast 1. Choose one of your rear guards not named Admired Sparkle Speaker, return it to your hand, call it back to the rear guard circle, and give it power plus 3000. So, start of the multi-attacks for Bermuda, which is really good. Obviously, it activates the on-bounce skills again, and obviously on-play skills. And it does help with a little bit of scaling with giving the unit called plus 3k. Next up to grade 2s, we run 4 copies of Ideal Weather Walking Amelia. Amelia's got the skill of GB1. When this unit is bounced, you can Count Blast 1 and draw a card. And obviously, it's also got the Resist ability, which is really good in this format because it stops Link Joker locking it, it stops Kagura retiring it, stops Gear Chronicle returning it to the bottom of the deck. Honestly, really good card. Next up, we do run 2 copies of the 12k Attacker, who's also got the Harmony effect. And skill is when this unit is in Harmony and it attacks the Vanguard, you get power plus 3000. So 12k on her own. Plus, obviously, she actually scales really nicely with some of the plus 3ks. So obviously, the plus 3k then gives her 15. Plus 7k booster on top puts it to 22. So you're actually pushing over a defensive number. Then finishing up the grade 2s, we do run 3 copies of Duo Quancy, who's got the skill of when this unit is bounced, you can Soul Blast 1, Counter Blast 1, and draw a card. And also has the Resist ability, so we're actually playing 7 Resist in the deck, which is really strong. And obviously the bounce and draw is useful. You don't use it that often, because obviously This is extra Soul Blast on top, and Soul is a very useful resource for yourself, but it's mainly there just as a resistor, and also the fact that it's the Legion mate. Moving on to grade 3s, we do have 4 copies of good old Lauris, Miracle Voice. She's got the Harmony skill herself. Her GB2 skill is once per turn, when a unit is placed into Harmony, you can choose 2 of your rear guards and they both gain power plus 5,000. And then this unit gains critical plus 1. So obviously this is really good as an alternative finisher in case you run out of strides. You can make the medal, give it to the 5k to herself and the unit boosting her. You can give it to both sides of your front rows. You can give that anywhere. What makes it really good is because obviously she's 11, plus the 5k booster 16, plus the 2 10k, the 2 5ks makes 26k column, forcing PG or double heal garden, which is really good. The on-stride skill is when this unit is stride upon, you can count plus 1, choose one of your rear guards, bounce it back to your hand, and then draw a card. So obviously, with the stride skill, the ability to stride giving you a draw 1 card, this giving you a bounce and a draw 1 card, and if you bounce, like for example Amelia, you draw 1 card, it's really strong for the deck. So you're getting lots of draw power, and obviously it's got the usual stride skill of, strider skill, sorry I should say, of when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle plus 3k for the turn. But because of this is the reason we do run 4 copies of the actual crit trigger, because we don't want to overdraw. It is so easy to overdraw in this deck. The crit's really nice. It's a boost that you can then place, tuck in, and you're not be able to have it retired. You're not be able to have it locked. It's a very good card. Helps create soul for Kura to then abuse. Honestly, really good card. We run 4 Heal Guardians, which is the staple for most decks, I think we'll say, because DP does change up a bit, but we'll get to that one when we get to the DP deck and profile. And then, last grade 3 we do run is we do run 1 copy of Duo Victoria. She obviously legions with Quancy. Her skill is when she legions, you can choose one of your rearguard circles, bounce the unit on that rearguard circle back to your hand, and then if it was a duo card, you search check for a copy of the card with the same name and add it to your hand. And when this unit attacks, you've got a unit in the middle column, this gets power plus 3,000. So 23k attacker is good. The bouncing lock cards is good because it gets around the likes of Big Crunch Dragon, Star Vaders as a whole. Really good. And obviously cloning your only duo target, which would be Quancy, gives you another intercept, which is really nice. But overall, it's a solid card. Then strides, we do run 4 copies of Somni. Somni's got the skill of when she hits, you can choose one of your rear guards, bounce it back to your hand, call a card from your hand to a rear guard circle, and give it power plus 3,000. So same as Speaker, more multi-attack. Where Speaker obviously is on attack, counter blast. This is obviously on hit, but it becomes free. Same scaling as what Speaker gives. Honestly, really good card for the deck. I do run 4 copies of School of Twilight Olivia. Obviously, yes, I've got 4. You can run the deck with 2 and put 2 Cray Elementals in just to top up. But ideally, you would want 4 Olivias because Olivia is going to be a long time used card. Olivia's got the skill of GB2. When this unit attacks, you can count plus 1 and flip a copy of herself. To then choose up to 3 of your different named rear guards and return them to your hand. If you do, you can choose 2 cards from your hand, call them to rearguard circles in separate rows. So front row, back row, you can't do 2 front or 2 back. It's got to be either diagonals or one behind the other, or one there, one behind the Vanguard. And if you do that, this then gains a crit. So honestly, it's your finisher of the deck, the main finisher of the deck. Gains crit, puts a lot of early pressure on, multi-attack enabling. You can't go wrong with this card. But that is it for the deck. I shall see you guys when we get into a game. Right, we are now coming back into the games. As I was talking about earlier, the Fighters Collection did bring a lot of variety to the actual format. There are so much different decks you see on the ladder now compared to what you normally did. Like, oh, we got DP. This was obviously this is set 3 format we are in, so we are going to have the clan events that I've been seeing from set 3, which are DP and just started today, Murakumos. So it would be nice if we see Murakumos on here. I have got planned, I'll say planned, because I'm not sure what's going to happen yet, what's not. Depends how my clan event goes, but I am planning to have 3 different Decan fights up for Murakumo. One being Shiryuki from the Shiryuki support from the Fights Collection. But I'll hold it, half holding it off till the Murakumo clan event's done, so I can use any Homura Raiders I get and the other strides, just so I can have more than just Shiryuki strides in the deck. Then I'm also going to be doing Yasui himself, because he's a really fun deck. I'm also then going to be doing the Magatsus, because I do have all the old Magatsu support, so it's just as easy to do Magatsu deck and fight with the Legion. But no, just passing the time during the early turns because we don't do much. There's a crit trigger, that'll help slightly, push them to a bit more damage. I do have to be careful, obviously, with what I do and don't discard, because obviously DP does have the grade 3 shoots, the double PGs needed, but this seems to be a bit of a mixed match deck, so I'm not sure what it's meant to be. Because we've got bits of Metal Borgs, we've got bits of Enigmans, so I'm not sure what to make of the deck, is the honest response. They do heal back down to 1, but does leave us in heal range, but no, we draw instead. They get their on-hit draw, but obviously because they haven't got the grade 1 in soul, we can abuse this and go, you here. We can put our resist in the front row as well. And we can actually start putting a lot of pressure on them early game. Obviously this will hit. This will still hit over defensives. And because I'm on 2 damage to their 2 damage, I can still heal out of it as well. First check, nothing. Second check, draw trigger. Draws us into a heal. That's absolutely fine. But obviously having seen the Legion there means we aren't going to be Legioning now this game. They hit a draw trigger defensive, and it's Dryon, so it does lead to more. It's looking to be Metal Borgs. Yep, there's another Dryon. They are more than likely going to be striding. Ooh, heals Daikaiser. Okay. So that means he's more than likely not running Heal Guard at this point, but there's a lot of SPs here. Something that would make Different Fight very proud. Okay, so he's going to go for that, but he's not going to get the retire off for the sheer fact of I've got the anti-retire starter. Okay, he's putting that in the back row, which is more confusing, but each to their own. He's nothing there. First check's nothing. Second check's crit trigger, so we are going straight to 5. But we have got 3 PGs and a heal trigger in hand, so we're not in the worst off positions. I'm actually going to keep the grade 3 and actually use the stride fodder for actual discards. More for the fact of I actually need to keep grade 3s in hand in case of a random Sin Buster dropping on me. So, although looking at hand actually, we are going to definitely be going Somni. But no, I am going to go with the stride fodder. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't use the stride skill because otherwise I'll overdraw. So we ignore that. But we are in harmony state, as you can see by the notes, which is a really cool addition. Calling this down, calling this down. We then go into harmony and activate that. Find no grade 3s, not surprised. We'll then use start skill to bounce Shizuku and draw into a stride fodder, which is really strong. You don't have retire because you're DP, so I can instead do this and this. Get another top 3 check. Still find nothing, which is fine. Battle phase. We're going to swing you here. You here. First check, nothing. Second check, nothing. And third check. Gives me a heal trigger, which is good. Gives us that little bit of leeway now. Puts them to 4, which is what we ideally want. We then can bounce Lauris. Because they didn't hit a defensive, I can actually afford to keep the Lauris in hand for the guard restriction costs. Cool down the Shandy. This is now 22 at his Vanguard. Doesn't heal, puts him at 5. We've got PGs and Heal Guardians to save ourselves no matter what, which is really strong. He's not in the best of spots. Next turn we get to Olivia. Obviously I can rectify my columns come stride turn, because I can obviously on stride bounce the stride fodder back to hand. There, obviously, if using Digets to return triggers back to deck. Obviously, him tying his crits and heals onto them makes it really interesting, but for some reason, he keeps calling down grade 2s, which is a bit confusing, but his choice. First check's a heal, so he does go back down to 4, so it does mean the stride is actually going to... Nope, he doesn't get to retire and kill something, which is good. He's 2k short. He more than likely is going... Oh no! Oh, that's the digest skill, because he gets to draw. This will take out the stride fodder, which I'm fine with. I'm at 5, 3 PGs, 2 heals. Discard, EU. We're actually going to take another turn in Shandy, I think. Is the better option. Save our... Because obviously we're not pressuring anything at this point. Next turn I can stride into Lauris directly and actually go for full combos. How many do I have in the hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, bouncing you's good, because then it goes up to 8 with the bounce. Draw makes me to 9. And it was well worth it, because you're a very good thing to draw into. And you... I'm going to chuck you here, not so much for the fact of I want the insole draw, but more the fact of you're an actual extra booster, which is really useful. Because we'll be able to actually multi-attack now next turn. Which if he doesn't hit a defensive is really strong for us. I'm not going to use his crit trigger skill. First check's a crit. Never mind, all multi-attacks have just now gone out the window. I'm going to do this. Because if I hit high enough, I'd get over any heal triggers. Force extra heals, but nope, we're just going to get a PG. Which is fine with us. Next turn I can stride into... If I hit a grade 3 / stride fodder, I can stride into Olivia and go off. Yes, I honestly was a bit greedy there, is the honest response. Because I could have just gone to Olivia and done... Rebounce this, cool this column down. He's now legioning. What's dry on skill when you're at home? I can't remember your skill. Oh, you gain a critical. And if you hit draw a card, I think it is. Yep, it's Counterblast 2 draw, that's fine. First check's a whiffed heal. So he's running mixed heals, okay, so it's 2-2 split more than likely. Obviously, didn't hit your power level, so you didn't get any crit anyway, but I'll perfect guard you. Draw. I think I'm going to be sensible and stride. Because I can recuperate a hand. Yes, it costs me a PG, but I've got one more left, plus the double heal. I need to recuperate what I can. And obviously that's going to help with this. And then I've got the on stride, counterblast, bounce, and draw. Which will call this. Use this to make a column. And this. And we'll Soul Blast 2 to then Counter Charge 2. So do this. Do this. Force another PG out of his hand. 1, 2, 3. Cool, 1, 2. Like here and here. I'm not going to use your skill because I don't need the draw power. First check, nothing. Second check, nothing. Third check, nothing. I believe I'm out of triggers at this point now anyway. So at this point, we might as well force any and all PGs that he's got access to out of his hand. We have got one heal left, so that could become useful down the line. Push him to 5. That's all 4 PGs out of hand. So we're now actually working on forcing our heal triggers out of his hand instead. We've seen 1 in drop. So the Lauris push next turn could be our final game, our final turn. By calling something behind the Vanguard. Here comes the Heavy Duke. Which to us that's nothing because you're not providing anything. Yep, there's the double insect I was expecting. That behind the Vanguard, that's honestly the worst placement to put it because he's already got a PG for Vanguard anyway. So obviously that takes that out. Yep, you can counter blast all you want, gain your crit, heal trigger, that's perfect because that's the last heal guard out of his hand. And draw trigger. Has that got sentence? Ah, that's got the bloody guard restrict. That was my fault. I forgot Heavy Duke had got guard restrict. Okay, so we have lost that one, unfortunately. Because the guard restrict got me. Oh, play a game with Magdalenico and got a mission for it. Okay. And I'll catch you guys back for game 2. Right, we are now actually back in for game 2. Mr. Lagnaclock. And we are against Novas. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't seen Novas for a while. Is this actually going to be someone actually playing Azura Kaiser because of the stride? Because if that is, I'll very much tip my hat to him for actually having the balls to play it. But quite a good position here. Got the 1-2-3 right up. Stride fodders are going to actually change to the actually having Lauris in hand. So all in all, very strong position we're in here. But from the Rumble starter, I'm more than likely guessing this is Victor. It hasn't got the prisons in it, because if it was the prison-based version, he'd be running Ruby Rose. Yep, it's the Dragonic Overlord version with that and the starter. Crit trigger defensive is nice, that means we get to draw a card, which is another crit trigger, okay. And we draw yet another crit trigger, so we're going to ride you. I'm then going to play somewhat cheeky, because I'm going to put this in the front row, not the back row. We'll discard a crit to get the Lauris. And we're going to pray that he doesn't get defensive and see if we get punished for it. Yep, we get punished for it. So it's down to, do we hit the trigger on offensive? We do not, so we don't actually get to hit. And we've left a front row rear guard for him to actually punch at now if he wants to. If he chooses not to punch it, I'll happily drag it back and use it as a bounce target. But kind of had to try and push a little bit there because it is Novas. I do want to rush them as quickly as I can. Oh, okay. So he's managed to hit Transriser off Transriser into another grade 2. So this isn't going to actually help him at all. But the fact of he's only going to get one swing at the Vanguard. Because even if he gives power to a rear guard, basic defensive mechanics are going to push me to 14, which none of his rear guards can actually hit. Yeah, he gives it to rear guard. Okay. Question marks. Question marks everywhere. So we're going to ride you. Because I want to plus a bit more, I'm going to put you here. Because obviously I can then bounce you with Lauris to get more draw power. Because of our hand, I can afford to pop you down here. Not using your skill, because I do want to keep some Laurises in deck. But now force him to commit a lot to board. Well, not so much commit a lot to war because he top decked grade 2 into grade 2 into grade 2. But it's more, we've now wiped out what he had plus. And Novas do actually need a fair bit of counter blasts. Because you need counter blast for the Victor on stride. You've got Cool Hank that counter blasts. You also, when you get to it, oh, he didn't hit Victor. This is actually better in our favours. So obviously, this one's on stride, Soul Blast 1, give the Vanguard power plus 5,000. So that's better for us. Because that does nothing. Okay, so he's Soul Blasting. He's doing... Yep, Soul Blast to call a unit and give it power plus 5,000. So he called that. Which then topped him into a Cool Hank. So nothing amazing is happening, is my thoughts at this point. Especially when Hank's in front of a run bowl of all things. Because that's not going to do much. Because the first swing to Vanguard's going to hit a defensive and the run bowl side's not going to hit anything after that. So he's forced to swing at a rear guard. Which, yes, I've got a low hand now. But Lauris Plus is like no tomorrow. More than a Nova Grappler deck does. So he's swinging to fail. And not even using the on-attack skill. So I get to walk away with a free... You've negated the entire turn. And the heal on top just to make it even better. I don't know what to think is the honest response. He could have planned that turn so much better. So we're going to stride into Somni. Because this is going to be our big push turn. Because we're only having a 7k in the front row, I can work off that really nicely. I don't have to commit too much down to the board. And I can recuperate everything I lose. So we can bounce you for a counter blast and draw. And then get your counter blast and draw. This is what I'm meaning here by you don't need 9 draws in this deck. Because we can then literally pop you back down again. Soul Blast. 2. Because Novas don't retire, I can actually leave it on board. Pop you down. Pop you down. Your skill checked up fine, 5 nothing. That's fine. We can then use you again, bouncing the same Emil back to hand. And drawing. Then Emil gets to draw me a card. And we then pop you back down again. And go swing at you. Swing at you. Swing at the Vanguard. If he doesn't hit a defensive, I'll bounce the Emil. Or, well, actually, there we go. That guarantees that I'm bouncing the Emil no matter what. Because that'll be in a 22k column. To hit over any defensive he gets. So yeah, as we were saying, bounce. And call. Emil, counter blast, draw a card. Something like that. Hits over defensives, pushes into 3. Pass turn. I'm sitting now with a hand of 4 PGs, heal trigger. Oh, not heal trigger, so crit trigger. And so much to work with next turn. I can even just literally, for striding, discard a grade 2 and a grade 1. Immortal Assert. We are seeing the Kaiser. Okay. Here he comes, the big bad Kaiser. So he's going to get to stand all of his rear guards. So he's going to have a 5 attack turn. He's going to push us to 5. And if he does, if I hit defensive, I'm good. If not, he's going to have multiple things swinging. In fact, he hasn't even got boosters. So half of these attacks aren't going to even hit. Okay. He hit grade 3, so he gets his Surukai skill to stand everything. That's fine. Okay, so he actually is going to force PG out of my hand. Okay. Never mind, he's not going to force PG out of my hand. I'm going to stay at 4 because that now can't hit. Draw for turn. We're going to go into Somni again for another turn. No, actually my deck's getting low. I do need to start putting the pressure on him. So we are going to go into Olivia. So yeah, Stridal Generation. Not going to use the bounce skill. How many have I got in hand actually? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm not going to bounce because we then overdraw. Going to plop you here. Plop you here. Obviously your skill, checked up 5 and 5, nothing. And pop you here. So swing at you for 9. Swing at you. Swing at you. Use your skill. Bouncing. 1, 2, 3. Calling 2 back down, which will be 1, 2, because you then create the harmony state again. Game a crit. Use your mandatory skill, checking top 5, finding a draw trigger. We will actually use you to draw a card. You're getting a meal, which is good. First check nothing. Second check nothing. Third check nothing. Yes, this time's not going to hit, but it's puts him at 4, which is a nice comfy spot for him to be in. Whiffs the heal trigger. Beautiful. Draw trigger, that's fine. I can now use an Olivia next turn to do those final pushes to force PG out of his hand. Get him to 5, and then following turn I can then use Lauris' on-strike skill. Not on-strike skill, but on-place GB2 skill to fill game. Oh, we're back into Victor again now, so we're not going back into the Surukai. Kaiser Stride, so it's more likely going to be a Victoplasma turn. Meaning he's going to be nuking his entire hand to do this. Which is stupid personally at this stage of the game, but albeit for him, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. No, he's going for the Vic 10. So he's going to get to stand his front row completely anyway. That's really good. He's... Oh, here comes the Crazy Soldier. Saw that coming a mile away. That's fine with me, you can do that. I'll just kill your Crazy Soldier, it doesn't faze me in the slightest. Because you've now made it to the point of Vanguard's not going to hit. So you don't get to restand it. Well, you've got nothing to restand anyway. This is a simple heal block. Other side's a PG guard. And I get to do 3 swings at your face. What's my deck? I've got 7. Oh, there's my last heal. So it's all... Oh, no, there's a crit still left in deck. Okay, okay. We can work with this. So it is majority 2s. Okay. I think what I'm actually going to do instead then, the ride skip, I'm going to choose not to stride because he's got nothing in the front row for me to actually care over. Going to do this. Check top 5, obviously find nothing. Pull you down. Going to use your skill. So I'll blast 2, counter charge 2. And obviously 16. That and that makes 26 with the crit. This here swing this at this, force PG out of his hand if he's got one. First check nothing, second check nothing. There's his PG. Swing this, see what he gets. Right, so no defensive from him. More than likely got a heal guard in hand. Just because I don't want to deal with the nonsense, we're actually going to take this out. Which is smarter play, because obviously I've got the double heal in hand. I've got the heal triple PG in hand. He physically can't kill me next turn. And that's getting rid of that stops his entire wiping out my front row again every turn. He's going to stride now. Yep, there's the Victoplasma. So he's going to. This is doing his final push turn. He's got to chuck everything on the line this turn. Yep, count last two. Persona flip. He's got no grappler's got no way of actually doing 4 attack. That'll attack that. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I still live. Yep. Heal guard. PG. First check nothing. Second check nothing. PG. Scarred 2, which one's a heal, which is beautiful. First check nothing. Second check PG, so that's a lot of good information there. More likely means 2 cards in hand with a guard, which is 1 heal and a PG. Okay. So what I'm going to do is do that here. Guess I want to call over you. Which will activate the limit break skill. So I can do that and that. To force that. That to force the heal out. If he's got the PG, he wins. If he doesn't, I win. Tuck you into soul because we can. Because you don't lose the crit on it because it's an axe skill. First check nothing. Second check nothing. Yep, we did have the PG, so we do end up losing, unfortunately. Sucks, unfortunately, when I draw all my heals, I physically can't heal, so it is what it is, that's the honest response. Just to save the time, unfortunately, I am going to be scooping, because I've got no... Obviously, all 4 PGs are shown, all 4 heals are shown, so we are going to give him the game. Because, respectfully, there's no way for me to win. There's no point in him dragging it out. So I shall catch you guys again in a minute. Right, so those were the games. Fortunately, it did end up with a double loss, which is unfortunate. But the first one was literally down to, I forgot to plan for the Heavy Duke Guard Restricts, which I can't do anything about, unfortunately. And the second one was down to literally just drawing heals, drawing heals, drawing heals. But that was going to be it for this video. If you haven't done so already, please do like, comment, subscribe. It very much does help the channel. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.